KayFabe Smark Podcast. Welcome to the KayFabe Smark Podcast with Eric Todd and Brian Rampa, your smart mark source for news and opinions on the world of professional wrestling.
Hey, it is the KayFabe Smark Podcast. This is October 7th as we're sitting here recording this with you. We are live on YouTube, live on Facebook. Make sure you guys join us on all of those platforms. Make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. If you're listening to this and haven't subscribed, I don't know how you did that, but make sure you guys get over there and subscribe, as I can't stutter my S's there. And make sure you get on all those social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and then YouTube as well. Hit that notification bell. You get a little ding when we go live. And we are here to talk AEW, their 2-year deal celebration. But first, before we get into the meat and taters of all of that and our fun that we got stored up for the podcast, let's check in with Mr. Eric Todd.
Oh, what's going on, Brian? Over here, it's the same old, just another rainy day in Michigan. Chilling, staying inside, staying warm, enjoying my new UGG slippers that I bought on Amazon, and ready to talk some wrestling.
Talking some wrestling. Got the UGG slippers. Life is good. I'm battling a little cold, so if you hear it in a little nasally, I got my tissues here. I took a little Dayquil, so I won't be drowsy, but soothe the throat, and we will get through this podcast and have some fun. Eric, before we get into any fun, what do we got in the news?
Just a little bit of news this week. Nothing too humongous, but go ahead and slap that ticker, and we'll get right into it.
Slapping the ticker. We're checking out the news to see what Eric found. Let's see what the world of professional wrestling's been up to since Sunday.
All right, first things first, Brian. I thought this was a joke when I read it. Apparently, Dominic Mysterio, sometime down the line, plans on taking over his dad's name and becoming Rey Mysterio III.
What?
And you and I both know he's been practicing and working for at least 5-6 years, and he absolutely stinks, and he's still as green as pig shit right now. If you're Rey Mysterio Jr., do you kind of cut him off and be like, you might want to chill on that, homeboy?
That is a thing in the Lucha Libre style of wrestling, as Rey got his name from his uncle. And so that was passed down as he was Rey Mysterio Jr. originally in WCW, and that was passed down. Now he's just Rey Mysterio. So I get the idea of it, but it seems a day late and $1 short.
And it seems like, just being honest, nothing against the kid. He's a good kid and he's dedicated or whatever. He tries, but he just stinks. He's going to tarnish the Mysterio name.
Well, besides that, yeah, okay, I'll give you that. I'm not taking that away from you, but it seems like that would be like a debut thing. You would come in and be like, hey, I'm Rey Mysterio III, and, my dad's retiring, and I'm taking, and it's a passing of the thing. There was 12 La Parkas, right? That gimmick gets passed down through generations. That's how it stays alive. But for all of a sudden for Rey or for Dominic to put on a mask and change his name, is it going to be like a ceremony?
Yeah, very good point there. I think he just knows he's not good enough to be Rey Mysterio III now. But yeah, I think you kind of pass that turn in your career there. If it will be a complete letdown. It'll be flat as a plate of piss if he ever decides to do it. Nobody will care.
Yeah, I just think it would be, again, I agree with you. I think it's going to stink. So I think it's I stick with it's a day late and $1 short. If they were going to go with it, they should have went with it from day one. But nobody called me.
And it would have been disappointing either way. So
and it would have been
bad idea. Yeah. Don't do it, Dom.
Don't do it, Dom. What else you got for us in the news?
All right. AEW Women's Champion Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, has spilled the tea about WWE trying to recruit her while she was active in AEW and dancing around the whole contract tampering thing by relaying messages through Adam Cole.
Well, I mean, She's a top talent. I mean, that's how talent works. Like, Sting reported back in the day that he would go sit with Vince and had several conversations with him back in the day to jump to WWE, WWF. And Vince would always tell him to make sure he crosses his I's and dots his T's, meaning sign your contract wrong and come work for me. It just never worked out. But that's just what you do. That's business. It's not a bad thing. I don't think they did a bad thing.
No, but it is kind of cool to get a peek behind the curtain where as far as the most WWE will let you know is they don't even acknowledge AEW exists.
Well,
Up until very recently, they were just the little stepbrother in the corner. But I got a quote from Britt here who says, "It's no secret. Adam has already said it. The cat is out of the bag, and I'm not going to get in trouble." WWE was definitely poking the bear a little bit through him recently when I was still with AEW. Hey, we're interested in her without teetering the line of contract tampering. They definitely let me know that they had interest in me, but it wasn't a mutual thing. I'm very happy with AEW and thankful for the opportunities, and this is where I want to stay, end quote.
You know what Britt did there? Britt?
Big fish, small pond?
Yeah, that. She's sticking with where she's already the big fish, but what she also did in that wording was, hey, nothing against you guys. This is where I want to be right now. She didn't bury WWE and be like, I ain't ever working for Vince McMahon. He the devil. They said, she just said, this is where I like to be right now. In the future, maybe I don't want to be here. Maybe I want to be there. But I was nice to you guys. She's keeping her options opened.
Keep me in your thoughts, Vinnie Mac.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe after there's a change in the regime, maybe if Trips is the guy or Stephanie's the girl and that's who's in charge, maybe she don't want to work for Vinny. Maybe maybe there's other options. We'll see.
All right, and former Impact World Champion Tessa Blanchard. You might know her from that time she beat Brian Cage clean in Impact Wrestling. Tessa Blanchard will be part of the relaunch of WOW Women of Wrestling. That is a little redundant. Tessa Blanchard, alongside AJ Mendez, formerly known as AJ Lee, also known as CM Punk's wife, have both signed with WOW. AJ will be an executive producer, and Tessa Blanchard is going to wrestle, apparently.
Yeah, I saw this going around the internet today, and they were trying to blow it up like AJ Lee is back in professional wrestling. They're using clickbait titles here to get you tuned into their article, but cool, why not? Go. She's got to make money. Where are they going to air this? Did anybody ever state that?
Nothing's really set in stone as of right now. But they're just trying to put the shit together.
Okay.
And who knows?
Probably be an internet streaming thing. Maybe Fight TV, get their hands on it. They're, what do you got to lose?
Right. I really don't expect it to take over the world, but I don't think that's breaking any worldwide news right there. AEW will talk more about this story later because it's very pertinent in what we do every week. But AEW has announced the signing of Bobby Fish, who was just very recently in NXT up until August. And Bobby Fish was flying way under my radar, Brian, with all the big names signing. I really wasn't anticipating that. I'm not disappointed by any means. I'd like to see what Bobby Fish can do in AEW, but it was just kind of, when I saw him this week, I was just kind of like, Bobby Fish is in AEW.
Yeah, we got the Fish in AEW. I'm curious to see if they spark up anything between Adam Cole and Bobby Fish again, some Undisputed Era, some back history there, or if they just ignore it and move on. We're in a new universe, and we just go forward with that. So time will tell on that, but I like Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish is a great wrestler, great performer. I don't think he's a Bobby Fish is not the guy type of guy, but he's a good guy. He's a good foundation guy. He's a good middle of the card. If you can hang with Bobby Fish, you can go forward. Maybe eventually Bobby Fish creates a charisma about him and he can go forward. But right now he's a good guy to have in that middle of the card, that TNT championship style position.
Yeah, definitely. You weren't going to blow any wigs back with that signing, so that wasn't one where I believe we spoke about it last week where I was saying if they're going to say sign Bray Wyatt, they might want to hold off a little bit till the CM Punk Bryan Danielson thing fizzles down. But yeah, Bobby Fish isn't that kind of signing. You don't gotta build it up. He's just a solid Frankie Kazarian type kind of guy you put in the middle of the card and he holds shit together.
100%. 100%.
And then finally, like I said, not much news. Andrew Zarian, whoever the fuck that is reporting that there was internal disappointment over the WWE NXT 2.0 ratings. Zarian said, "This is all to bring in a new, younger viewer who is connected with pop culture and trends. Needless to say, the demo numbers are disappointing, but we are hopeful this is just a bump in the road." Tuesday's episode of NXT 2.0 on USA only pulled in 632,000 viewers with a .13 rating. That's down about 23,000 from the week before. And man, NXT is floundering. They're doing pretty rough before the rebranding, and it just continues. So who knows? Maybe they'll catch some traction, but they're on the struggle bus right now, Brian.
Yeah, they were the original alternate to WWE in the WWE universe. WWE was double dipping and made an alternate to the main brands. So why Vince decided to change that because he feels he lost the Wednesday night debacle that happened or whatever the deal was is just insane to me. So now they've made it more of the same, and the look is whatever. The feel is different. It's different. It's not NXT what people fell in love with. That people chanted NXT at events, right? You go to an NXT event, you watch an NXT event, you hear NXT. You never hear somebody at Raw like WWE. Like they were brand faithful to this, and then they said it's different. It was a dumb move, if you ask me.
This looks like they're almost trying to do Raw, but with less talented folk, which obviously it's developmental, but this is like Raw light,
Right.
so to speak.
Mini Raw, mini SmackDown. It's just different. It's cheese, and it sucks. So hopefully they change it or do something else. But I think if you do change again, that's the nail in the coffin. Like, we changed, and now we're NXT 2.0.1.
They're like goddamn
Apple
Android.
iOS.
Yeah. They're going to be calling it NXT ice cream here pretty soon. Follow the Android format. But that's that, Brian. That's the wrap on the news, and smack that ticker one more time, and then we can get into a little overrated or underrated.
Overrated, underrated. NXT, nobody's watching it. Tessa Blanchard's in WOW, wherever that's going to be at. Remember, she's nuclear. And AJ Lee over there as well. That's the news. Let's see what happens now. Oh, got to go back to the two-shot. There we go. If you're watching on the video format, remember, these are all archived on YouTube. So feel free to jump up there and watch them anytime. If you're streaming live with us, you can check it out. Eric's got the overrated, underrated, which only means one thing.
Let's play overrated or underrated with Eric Todd.
Let's play overrated, underrated with Eric Todd. We were having
Sounds
some
like a plan.
technical difficulties getting the show going here earlier, and I'm going to be honest with you. My timing got all thrown off, but I threw one together real quick. We're going to go with overrated, underrated gimmick pay-per-views. We're going to start it off with your original, overrated, underrated, the Royal Rumble. We're calling it a gimmick pay-per-view. It's based around a gimmick match.
Kind of caught me off guard there, Brian. The Royal Rumble, I think, is underrated. Obviously, when it debuted, I was just a young little lad, probably about the age of 5 or 6, and nowadays, as an adult, you think of battle royals as just lazy booking, just ways to get guys into the ring to have a match. But WWE's always had the production value that's been through the roof, and they managed to turn a gimmick lazy match into a humongous spectacle, and it's just blown the hell up since the 80s. So I think Royal Rumble has far surpassed what it was intended to do. So underrated.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Royal Rumble is one of my favorite pay-per-views to watch. It's especially when they bring back some nostalgic stars. You know they're not going to win, but it's fun. Maybe a celebrity's thrown in there. Just a little shake it up, have a little fun. I enjoy it. Overrated, underrated. Cyber Tuesday. Do you remember Cyber Tuesday where you vote, where the fans, I'll use this loosely, voted loosely to make the matches throughout the evening?
Yeah. That was WWE trying to keep up with the trends, trying to, be down with the younger generation, and they just this whole thing just stunk on ice. I've never liked the Cyber Tuesdays. I've always felt it was predetermined anyway because we know how wrestling works, and anybody who likes Cyber Tuesday stinks, and it's an overrated concept.
Overrated, underrated. King of the Ring.
Ooh, this one's a tough one, Brian, because when I was young, when I was a kid, I loved King of the Ring. I love tournament formats. I don't know if it's just
You'd get
the
to see Bret Hart.
organized and
I was going to say you get to see Bret Hart twice in a night, 3 times in a night. Like, it was a cool idea. I agree with you there.
Yeah, cool idea, especially when they did it all in one night. And being the King of the Ring meant something. You were almost carrying on the legacy of a Harley Race, who was an elite king amongst kings, and Jerry Lawler, same story with that. But as the King of the Ring progressed, they started giving it to mid-carders and Baron Corbin. A prime example, as he wears a pelt of dead possums, it appears. As of lately, King of the Ring, and they just revamped it to have King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring this year at Crown Jewel. It stinks on ice, and again, overrated.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It was great in the beginning when it was an all-in-one night type deal, or at least the preliminaries were on Raw, and then you had like the, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals on the pay-per-view. That was great. But as it moved on, it just didn't mean anything at all. Overrated, underrated. Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank was another one that I didn't really expect to like, and I liked it for a while, and now it just kind of got lame again. That I think they're always trying to change it up, which you can't blame them for that. But now, I don't know. It's all very predictable, and they just wing it, and they never know what to do with the briefcase, and they just pass it around like a hot potato sometimes, like with the Otis situation, and they've just shit all over what could have been a great concept, and I'm going to say that one's overrated too.
I was a fan of Money in the Bank when it was a WrestleMania match. That's when I was a big fan of it, when it was just a match on the WrestleMania card, and then it got its own pay-per-view, and then the Money in the Bank match at its own pay-per-view is not the main event. Like, that was weird to me. Those things all kind of freaked me out. I didn't care for that. Last one, overrated, underrated, Hell in the Cell.
Man, Hell in the Cell. Oh, man. This is, you know what this is turning into, Brian? It's turning into a showcase of how WWE started up here and just completely killing it with these gimmick matches, gimmick pay-per-views, and so forth, and then just running them right into the ground. The past 2, 3, 4 Hell in the Cell pay-per-views that we've watched have been complete garbage. But you want to take it back to the late 90s, early 2000s, Hell in the Cell, probably one of my favorite concepts WWE's ever invented. But I'm going present day right now, and I'm saying it's overrated. If you ask me to watch Hell in the Cell, I'll probably just go meh
Nah.
and find something else to do.
I think that it was, again, a great thing when it was a match on a card, not the pay-per-view. And then they open with a Hell in the Cell match. They throw one in the middle. Like, it was just in your house, whatever it was, and there was a Hell in the Cell match with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels or whoever. You know, it was just thrown in there. And that was the match. And now they make the cage red and the thing. And it's...
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you 100% on those last two. A little Hell in the Cell, a little Money in the Bank goes a long way. When you try and turn it into their own 3-hour spectacle, it just turns into trash.
Yep.
So, yeah.
The only one that holds on to that is Royal Rumble. Like, you sit there and wait for those Rumbles. But anyways, that is overrated, underrated. And now we're going to get down and talk about the 2-year anniversary show of AEW and Dynamite.
And this thing started off hot, Brian. We didn't even get, I think we might have got it's Wednesday night. You know what that means from JR. But we didn't waste any time getting into the first match of the night. We started off hot with an 8-man tag. That's truly an AEW fashion right there. We had the Super Elite, Adam Cole, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega taking on the team of Christian Cage, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, this was weird. They opened it up. All 8 guys already in the ring. No intro for TV. I'm sure they did one for the crowd, but no intro for TV. I don't know. I just thought that was weird. Just in the Super Elite name is dumb to me because what makes them... So now they're super because Adam Cole's there? That makes them super? They could at least go with the Complete Elite. Like, then they're complete. Like, they're missing a piece, and now they have Adam Cole. But to make it super, what makes it super?
I was thinking the same thing. The only thing that changed in the Elite was the addition of Adam Cole. And there's even t-shirts online that say the Elite is complete, I believe. And I think that would be a way better fit than the Super Elite.
Elite.
It's just obnoxious and probably a Jackson creation.
Jackson original. What did you think of this match? I know you love 8-man tags, Eric.
I fully went into this thing expecting to hate it. I'll be honest with you. But the first 7 minutes of this match are actually pretty awesome. Jungle Boy took up the majority of the first segment of this match.
Probably the best.
I would say between Jungle Boy, Christian, and Adam Cole, those 3 just completely murdered it in the first part of this match. The only goofy parts was when Jungle Boy was in there with either one of the Young Bucks, and then they just had to do their goofy, contrived, overproduced spots. Again, like we're just putting on a circus show.
Hit your mark, stand on your X, protect yourself, and go with the punches.
And then seemingly at that 7-minute mark, 7.5 minute, all of a sudden, it's as if Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks took over the writing of this match. The bullshit just explodes out of everywhere. We got... I didn't even see a reason why. I don't know if I blinked or looked away, but all of a sudden, all 8 guys are in the ring again.
Oh, yeah.
And our boy... Why am I forgetting his name right
Rick
now?
Knox.
Rick Knox don't give a shit. There's 8 guys in the ring.
JR made a few comments throughout this going, how many guys are going to be allowed in the ring? What's happening? Like, I don't know if he's like trying to make a point on air and hoping that it gets through, or if he's just, if that's the gimmick that he's working, or if he's supposed to say that, but it just, I think he just hates it personally.
I think JR just says what he thinks, because what are they going to do? Fire him? No, you can't do that.
Okay. Let's go home.
But everyone's just in the ring, beating each other up, throwing each other out. For what reason? I don't know. I don't even know what they had planned out of that. But it was a way to get Brandon Cutler and Nakazawa involved with the cold spray and the laptop or whatever the hell he was carrying around this time, he being Nakazawa.
Yeah, the cold spray, the infamous cold spray. That gimmick has run its course.
And we see a very shitty Meltzer driver or indie taker or whatever the hell you want to call it these days on Christian Cage on the floor. I get it. You don't want to smash the poor guy's head on the floor in the arena.
On the
but
concrete.
that was an absolute shitty looking Meltzer driver. His head was about 9 inches from hitting. One good thing that came out of that whole shit show aspect of this is we got to see Matt Jackson stiffly kick Marco's stunt right in the stupid face, and you got to watch his glasses fly off, and that was fantastic.
He punted poor stunt. He said, hit the bricks.
I watched it twice because I wanted to make sure. It sure looked like a potato to me. If that was a working kick, they pulled it off flawlessly.
Yeah, and then they pulled off. Then they were running with that Christian Cage. The Doc Samson was out there, and then they had him get taken out, saying he's had past neck injuries. Now the boys did leave him alone, so whether this was a worked-in gimmick spot, and they took him off on a stretcher, but they just kind of left it off TV too. They didn't go back to him. They just said Christian's gone, and they made it seem like he was being carted out of there. So. Not sure if he did get hurt, if he felt a little something, or if it was just like, hey, we'll just run with this. It's a interesting gimmick. It shows that the Elite are mean and angry boys.
Yeah, I took it as that. It just shows that the Elite, how ruthless they are, and it kind of served as a way to whittle down the 8 people, 10 people if you're counting Cutlet and Nakazawa out there.
11 if you count Rick Knox.
Yeah. I don't even count him as a human being. He's a fucking ghoul. But we get back to semi-normal in this thing, and we've got Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega, and I have shit on Kenny Omega for, I don't know, what are we on, episode 67 or something?
72.
72. For 72 weeks straight, I have shit on Kenny Omega. But when he has someone in there, as of Bryan Danielson, he can pull it off. He just needs somebody to lead him, tell him what to do, and to be where they need to be. And Kenny Omega pulls off the illusion that he is a fantastic wrestler.
Yeah, Kenny is not the ring general, but he's a good lieutenant.
Yeah, he's definitely a good follower with somebody like Danielson in there. Then we get to the typical, this seems necessary, and every 6 or 8 man tag, everyone's just taking a break on the outside. And then this thing really starts to ramp up. You can tell we're getting towards the end because we just get a complete slew of tope suicidas and over the tops and cross bodies and catch me spots galore at this point, Brian.
Adam Cole's was the best. It looks like he's gearing up for one. He hits the ropes, stops in the center, and you just get a Adam Cole, baby, and then he doesn't dive.
And you could tell the audience was paying attention to that because he just stopped on a dime and pulled that off, and the crowd was right there with him.
I don't know if he's that good or if he's learned from WWE, but, man, he hit the mark, had the hard camera down, posed. I mean, the timing was impeccable on all of that. It was great.
Yeah, and then right after that, so impeccable timing, everything smooth, perfect, on the spot with Adam Cole. Then we got to watch Kenny Omega botch a power bomb and fall right on his stupid ass.
Oh, yeah. And then not just botch a power bomb, not just fall on his stupid ass where nothing happened. The commentators slightly covered up for him, but he did that shit in Philadelphia. I mean, we're talking home of ECW, just down the road. That's like, they're a hardcore group of fans, so they didn't let him get away with it. They kind of gave him some you fucked ups and some whatever else they were chanting at him.
The crowd definitely let him have it after that. But now, at this point, the Young Bucks are once again in charge. We get 3 separate instances, Brian, of 4-on-1 with the entire Elite taking on one babyface. And finally, Jungle Boy's the final victim. He gets hit with one of the 52 elite finishers, and he's down for the pin, and the bad guys get the win.
Not only is it one of the 52 elite finishers, it was the BTE trigger, but it was a quad BTE trigger that they went with. But I didn't understand why they hit the BTE trigger and then the elite fell to the ground. Like, it didn't make any sense to me. Like, Matt Jackson's on the ground and Adam Cole hit the ground. Like, it was so explosive. Is that what they're trying to... I didn't get... that went right over my head. Whatever they were trying to sell, I was like, I don't get it. I don't see it. I don't know why you boys hit the ground. I love all of you, but why are you acting like assholes?
Yeah, everything's a cartoon, and everything is sticking a grenade in your panties and the whole ring exploding, and I don't know. It was just goofy, and they turned what we saw the potential in the first part of this match, and then they just turned it into a goofy shit show per usual.
Per usual. There was too many guys in and out of the ring for me. There was no counting. There was no control of the match. So they need to, again, I've said it 7,000 times. I'll say it 7,001. They need to either say, no rules apply. This is just guys in, guys out, no tagging necessary. We're not going to count. The ref is here just to count 1, 2, 3. Or they need to impose some will by the referee and say, hey, there's some organization here. We got to get the job done. But I say it again, that's the only thing that takes me out of those. Too many guys in the ring. What's happening? Who's the, quote, legal man? What am I watching? Why am I watching it? It's just too much going on. So, anyways, that match was at best mediocre for me.
And just to be nitpicky, something very small in this match, Brian, irritated the shit out of me. It was Adam Cole just came from WWE, has been in NXT, has been trained by the best. He is virtually flawless. Let Kenny Omega blind tag him by slapping him on the back when he was like 3 feet from the ring or from the ropes. That you can ask FTR about that one. That's not a legal tag. That is just extremely sloppy, extremely lazy. He could have stuck his hand out behind him and got a legal tag, but I don't know. It just came off very blatant and very sloppy, and I was disappointed in Adam Cole for playing along with that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we're going to see that more often than not with some guys, even from a Bryan Danielson and such of the likes, because it's going to be, you know, why am I sticking by it? We've even seen FTR kind of throw caution to the wind with that nonsense, unfortunately. So maybe we can get a revolution of it, but I wouldn't hold my breath at the moment.
Yeah. Then we shoot to the back, and it's Jon Moxley in his usual fashion. This time he's in the electrical room. You got a bunch of cords and plugs and shit. In the back, he's back there stripping wires or whatever the hell he does for his second job there. And
he's on his union break.
The meat and potatoes of his promo right here, he's all hyped up. He wants to let us know that he's got a 3-month-old baby, and that baby is insane. Philadelphia is his city. AEW is his company, and he wants his title back.
Cool. There you go. So he's going to get in that ladder match.
He's definitely passionate, but yeah, he is getting in a ladder match, and he's going to get his belt back.
Good for him. All right. Anyways, I thought that was cheesy.
More chit-chat coming up, but at least this time it's CM Punk.
Yes.
CM Punk makes his entrance, does a mini little crowd surf there, jumping into the audience. The shirt CM Punk's wearing, it's the Chicago flag, the 2 fists, but there's more blue in it, and
it's not a white shirt.
It's not a white shirt for once, thank God. And that shirt was hype, but I go over to Shop AEW, I go to Pro Wrestling Tees, nowhere to be seen. So keep your eyeballs peeled on that one. That's probably the coolest shirt I've seen from CM Punk.
That was a good one. I did buy the white one. I would like the black one as well. So next time they're available, I'm sure I'll be ordering one.
CM Punk goes on to, play to the crowd. They are in Philadelphia, and offers to buy them cheesecake before catching himself, and open about it. He didn't try and hide it. he fucked up and he knew it. Corrects himself and offers the crowd, would they rather see him wrestle or would they rather him buy them all cheesesteaks? And I don't know. It's pretty mixed reaction on that one. I think that crowd wanted the cheesesteaks.
Yeah, he did a good job by just burying himself, if you will, and pushing it under there. Cheesecake, cheesesteak, I don't know. What the hell do you guys want? Red jacket, green jacket, who gives a shit? He's a pro with that stuff. He can talk, and people stutter. It happens, and you just move on. It was no big deal, but I'm sure the internet somewhere is blowing up about it. Here's that cheesecake. Yeah. Cheesecake's good, too. I like a cheesecake. I want a cheesecake after I have a cheesesteak. I think
take them both.
The only thing that I think got messed up with this promo, though, is I'm going to guess that they are taping Rampage after Dynamite last night. Because he was like, do you guys want to see me wrestle? Do you want to see me wrestle? I'm going to wrestle on Friday. Because then he turned it around and it was like, yeah, I mean on Friday. Meaning he's going to wrestle later that night.
He did say in Philadelphia, though. So it did leave it kind of murky.
Yeah.
It is foggy that maybe they would be back live on Friday, but, they're taping on Wednesday.
Yeah, so anyways, that just got a little... I thought he was going to wrestle that night. It led me to believe he was going to wrestle that night. Then he changed it to Fridays. I get it. They're really using Punk to be the Friday guy to really draw the ratings for those 1 to 2 hours that they're working with Rampage. So I'm not mad at it. It is what it is. Got to hear his music. Got to see him run around. Got to hear him talk. The guy that he challenged didn't make any sense to me.
No, on Friday we will see CM Punk with a touch of gray in his beard take on Jerry Garcia, and that should be an interesting get-together. We'll see how much Punk allows Garcia to hang with him. If he likes him, he might let him get in some offense, but I'm hoping it's not a 50-50 Garcia taking Punk to the wire, Cody Rhodes style match. That will just absolutely stink up the joint.
Yeah, that'll suck. And then he makes mention of his shoes earlier, too. So then he makes mention of, look at these Jordans I got on. And then he rambles on about other stuff, about coming from humble beginnings and this and that, and going about working for Ring of Honor. That's what he was getting at. He wasn't going to say Ring of Honor, but wrestling every day of the week, twice on Sundays, running a wrestling school during the day, blah, blah, blah. And here I am. I'm just a guy. I'm happy to be here, and I'm having fun. And then he leaves the ring after his promo. He challenges Jerry Garcia, and he gives his Jordans to the young kid dressed up like Orange Cassidy.
And gives him a bit of a pep talk, too. And,
he told him something before he went in. He told him something before he went in. He came over and, gave him a hug and, kind of dapped him up, and then went in the ring, did his promo, came back out, and gave him his shoes. It was a interesting thing. That could get expensive. I mean, I don't know what they're paying you, but giving away Jordans all the time, those can get expensive. But it would have made more. I think they should have been told us something. Who was that kid? Was he something? There should have been a little bit of information there. It's a young kid. I don't know, something. It was just like, hey, George, he gave away shoes to the kid dressed up like Orange Cassidy, not the kid in the CM Punk shirt.
Right. The kid dressed as Orange Cassidy with a cleaned-up Enzo Amore escorting him to the show.
Yeah, I didn't get it, but whatever. Why? I guess I don't have to.
Yeah, I don't know. And just to continue on with things we don't get, Arn Anderson, for some reason, is in Cody's backyard, and he set up a fire barrel like a fucking homeless person. This being in Philadelphia gave me Rocky vibes, where you had Rocky Balboa's brother and 3 other bums just singing around a barrel fire.
Yeah, and then he wants his tie. Give me your tie. That's the problem. Cody Rhodes wears a tie.
Symbolism, man. You're too Hollywood, Cody.
I guess he's trying to rebrand him is what they're going for, but I think it's not coming across quite. So last week he threatens that if I'm sure everybody saw the memes going around, he talks about how you'll run away if somebody tries to steal your car, Cody. Me, I'm gonna grab the Glock and spill his brains on the concrete. Let's get out of here. I don't work with losers. And him and the other guy hit the bricks there. And and then next week he's in his backyard going, I'll teach you to be strong. It's like, well, a week ago you walked away from him. Now we're back with him, and you want to burn his tie in a fire pit.
Yeah, last week you didn't give a two shits about him, and you were abandoning him, and now you're stalking him and showing up in his backyard. Yeah, you got to figure out what you want, Arn. But we got a little WWE Easter egg in there. Tells Cody, "Why don't you just go ahead and paint a star on your face?"
Yes, if you don't remember, he was Stardust, and as crazy as it sounds, he got that character over.
He did. He definitely picked up the vibes from his older brother, getting over a gimmick that shouldn't work. And
No.
yeah, Cody did what he could with that back in WWE.
Yeah, he killed that for a little bit. So, anyways, yeah, a little stab there at the Stardust character, but this promo vignette thing was strange and awkward at best.
Yeah, speaking of strange and awkward, we had our next match of the night, Brian. We had the debut of the newly signed Bobby Fish taking on Sammy Guevara, the recently crowned TNT champion.
Not only is he the TNT champion, pardon me while I take my hoodie off, I got a little warm. It's a new TNT championship. He's got a red one. Everybody who
And there's
wins
sparkles all over it.
Everybody who wins this goddamn title gets a new version of it. It means nothing. It means less to me every time you change it. To me, the idea of the big gold, the WCW big gold belt, right? Like Ric Flair held that belt. Harley Race held that belt. Down the line, Steamboat, Sting, etc., and so on. Dusty, Terry Funk. That belt meant so. Now it's like, this TNT championship. The original one, I get it. Brody Lee, the whole thing. We changed it up. That retired that gimmick and made this new one. Then Miro gets it, it's green. Now Sammy gets it, it's back to red and extra sparkly. Everybody gets to redesign their belt. It doesn't stick around. I did not care for that.
And you made a very good point that just made me even more irritated with it. There's no legacy to it. It's not, Harley Race held this belt, Ric Flair held this belt. It's whatever. Even if they're using the same piece of leather, changing it up, it's just a gimmick. It's just a gimmick belt that they give to whoever they decide to give it to.
Right. And I think Sammy will be a good champion. I'm happy for him working his way up, and I think it'll be a good spot for him. I think it's good for Miro that he lost it. He can move on and look at title, world championship contendership. I think that'll be good for him. But, this new title thing really shook me, but I'll get over it. But yes, we get to see Bobby Fish take on Sammy Guevara, and these two I had high hopes for, and I don't think I was not disappointed by this at all.
Yeah, I wasn't excited by watching this match, but by no means was I disappointed either. You see the professionalism with Bobby Fish. You see the training and the experience with him. Guevara is very good for being slightly green, and Bobby Fish leading the dance in this one. One thing I was trying to figure out, Brian, because if it was a botch, they covered it up pretty well. It appeared Sammy botched one of his little bouncy rope tricks and ended up landing on the back of his head. But around the same time, they had Bobby Fish kicking the rope. I don't think he would have fell that sloppily if that whole thing was planned.
Yeah, either it was a happy accident or Bobby Fish saw a botch coming and started kicking the ropes and said, "Screw it, I'll make him fall and we'll get on with this." I'm not sure what happened, but there was a little realism to that one.
Yeah, that landing looked pretty rough, and you're hoping Sammy didn't add a check mark next to his concussion counter there.
Yeah.
But Sammy ends up winning with a GTH, and then this was a good debut for Bobby Fish, but it seemed like the reason for this match was the afterbirth. Sammy Guevara gets jumped by the entire Dan Lambert crew, Scorpio Sky and company. Jericho and Hager make the save, and we got a challenge.
Whoa, don't forget, Fuego came in.
Don't forget about Fuego. Didn't he just get pooped on the minute he walked in?
Yeah, basically. Don't forget, he came in for a half a second to defend his buddy. I mean, Sammy Guevara bought him a truck after he won the AEW championship, because once you win that championship, you're buying vehicles, my friend. So
Not the AEW, Brian. The coveted TNT.
That's
title.
what it was. Yeah, sorry, the TNT title, and then the Cartoon Network title, and the MTV title, the Sci-Fi title.
I'm gonna look up companies Ted Turner owns, and then we can have a whole slew of belts in the AEW company.
Yeah.
Jericho and Hager make the save, and we got a little challenge from Dan Lambert's squad, and they want the Inner Circle. And I don't know where we're seeing that. Are we seeing that on Rampage too?
They said we would see that in Miami. Now, whatever that means, I missed the show that it was going to be on. There was a lot of yelling. The crowd was singing. They were booing Dan Lambert. He was rattling on. Chris Jericho's screaming. So I just remember they saying it was going to be in Miami, which is the home of the American top team. It is their hometown, or what Dan Lambert claims is their hometown. So whatever that means, but it's going to be in a couple weeks, a week or two. I'm guessing Dynamite, but
who knows?
Who cares?
Back to Tony Schiavone in the middle of the ring, and he's got Ref Aubrey flanking him. They've got a big announcement. They've got a big reveal. They have the new mid-card women's title, the TBS Championship.
What they have is no idea how to do anything and produce a segment. That's what they have. They have no idea what they're doing. There was no case for this thing. She clearly was holding a belt. There was no reveal. There was no explanation. There was no vignette of women wrestling. There was no lead-in. There was no... It was just like... And he's like, what we're going to do is we're going to unveil a new title from the TBS Championship, because we're moving to TBS on January 5th. And we're going to have senior official referee Aubrey Edwards. Yeah. She's going to unveil it. And then when he said senior official, she winced and squinted and looked at him like, what are you talking about? And then
because that dickhead Paul Turner is the senior official.
Yeah.
Turner's a moron.
And that Paul Turner.
That Paul Turner. Yeah, so it just was very random. Tony Khan didn't come out. I thought Tony Khan might come out and explain it. I thought Britt Baker might have a run-in with it. I thought that it was just hey, this is the TBS Championship. It's going to be for women. There's going to be a tournament, and starts on, it'll be probably finalized in January, I guess, is what they were saying. But it was just lamely done. They were like, there's a belt. He just basically said, there's a belt in the bag. And then I'm going to talk about it, and then we'll show it to you. Well, why not? I don't know. That segment sucked.
And I don't know, Brian. Maybe this is just me overthinking things, but the color scheme on this TBS belt seems very, very familiar, and it kind of leads up to, besides Britt Baker, the woman they're pushing the most in the women division, and that would be Jade Cargill. That blue is her scheme through and through. So I think it's already been revealed. Jade Cargill is going to be your first TBS champion. I'm putting money on it.
There is a chance. The TBS logo has always been blue and white. Think about back in the day, the logo, the square boxes were blue, so they are working with colors that have been working with TBS. But you're not wrong. I'm trying to think of who else and where else that would go, and she already had a name for it. She's going to call it This Bitch Show will be the TBS Championship, is what she said in her promo. She gives me chills when she speaks. I just want to go,
Yeah, she apparently is too busy for promo class. She needs to start spending a little time with Eddie Kingston before she takes over that belt.
Yeah, give her a cookie.
We got a little JR pre-tape with Darby Allin here, and JR will just interview anybody. Remember back in the day, if JR had an exclusive one-on-one in
Mick Foley
in a hotel room or whatever, and Mick Foley's a prime example, it meant something. But this was JR. They set up a big exclusive interview with Darby Allin so that Darby Allin could tell us that he paints half of his face because his uncle died in a drunk driving accident.
They forgot that they told us that 2 years ago.
Precisely. We've already heard the story, and at this point, nobody cares. Cool.
MJF kind of broke it last week, like it was a big thing, and and at least I was like, yeah. When Darby Allin debuted 2 years ago on Dynamite, they explained that his uncle was killed in a car wreck, and Darby survived. I sad. He turned it into something of positivity, I guess, and made a career out of it, and good for him. It's how he honors his uncle, but we knew the story. So who cares?
Yeah.
Why tell us again like it's new?
This coming from a company that books every show, assuming that you've seen every show, every YouTube video, every episode of Being the Elite that they've ever done, kind of just forgets that they've already made this reveal and told this story.
Yeah, we'll just tell it again. Nobody cared the first time. Let's see if we tell it the second time if they care more. I don't think that's going to happen.
Speaking of things nobody cared about, we had Darby Allin taking on Nick Camarado next. And Darby tries to start this thing off with some excitement. He goes ahead and dives onto the entire Job Squad right here to start things off hot.
Job Squad 2.0.
This match was just filler, I imagine, because it didn't seem to do anything. Shortly after the beginning of the match, we're already in a commercial. By the time we come back from commercial, Darby Allin's already hitting a stunner and a coffin drop, and it's a wrap for Mr. Camarado here.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I missed the end of it because I don't watch the picture-in-picture commercials. I was watching it delayed, as I do not usually watch it live, as we have prior engagements on Wednesday nights now. And I saw him ticking through it, and I was like, all right, picture-in-picture is over, and play. And I went one frame too far, one click too many. And son of a bitch, it was over, and I went, what are you going to do? Darby Allin won.
Darby Allin won, and we get a little QT Marshall cameo here. He does something to Sting. I really wasn't paying attention. Sting no sells, and I imagine he Sting Scorpion dropped him.
Yep.
And that was a wrap on QT's cameo.
That was a wrap on that. The Sting's got to have the best gimmick. We're going to fake hit you, and all you have to do is pretend that it doesn't hurt, because it won't, because we're going to fake hit you, and we'll make you look strong, and then you get to dump one of us on our noggins. Sounds good. Sell a T-shirt.
Sounds good. I'll take my $1 million now, and thank you very much.
See you next week.
We go backstage again, and we've got more drama in the Dork Order, Brian. We think the Dork Order's drama is resolved. We get a little comedy shtick between the three bearded bald boys going on back there, and then they all agree to vote on everything, but immediately have disagreements with their claws and whatnot. And that one chick, I can't remember her name, 99 or whatever, has to snap them back into reality.
Yeah, it's a lost thing, and they're really holding on to it because that's an AEW original, the Dark Order.
And boy, does it stink.
Just copy something else and call it the NWO and move on.
Yeah, I'm completely over the Dork Order at this point. I don't even know if Bray Wyatt could save them, but it is just bad comedy. John Silver isn't funny to me.
Johnny Hungy!
Oh, yeah, Johnny Hungy. Thank God they dropped that gimmick. I was borderline bulimic every time I watched that asshole. But we get out of the Dork Order segment, and now everybody has a solo chat in the ring now, Brian. Now we've got Dante Martin.
Oh, yeah.
Who the fuck is Dante Martin to be in the ring by himself, taking up TV time, issuing challenges?
I thought you were just going to stop there. Just say, who's Dante,
who the hell's Dante Martin?
And just call it a day.
He's 7-1, Brian, in 2021.
Cool. What did that get you? All you got to do is debut in AEW and you get a title shot. Christian didn't even have a total at all. He came in 0-0, and he's like, I want to challenge you for the Impact Championship and the AEW Championship. And they're like, screw it, give it to him. I mean, I love Christian, but come on.
This kid is young, He's either 19 or 20, something like that. He does work his ass off. He's very athletic. He can do the young buck style gymnastic matches. But you, especially now with all these recent signings, you have tremendous talent that's leaps and bounds above Dante Martin, who have paid their dues. And just because you get a hard on for this young little weirdo here, all of a sudden he's big enough to be in the ring issuing challenges. And uh, now he's going to be involved with Malachi Black. That it's just, they're not even in the same league. Why they would start this is beyond me.
Not even the same universe. That was something that I did admire about WWE back in the day, the Attitude Era. There was like different universes for storylines, right? Goldust and his storyline never crossed waves with Stone Cold and The Rock's storyline. It was just these alternate stories stacked upon each other to make a show. Where AEW is intertwining all these stories. So you're getting a Dante Martin is going to be qualified to get into the ring with Malachi Black. Like, he literally murdered Cody Rhodes twice.
Former AEW champion Cody Rhodes.
TNT
slaughtered
champion.
him.
TNT champion.
Or I'm sorry, TNT champion.
Remember, he put up his opportunity to challenge for the AEW World Champion and lost that opportunity. So, but nonetheless, I mean, this is Cody Rhodes. Like, and then he murders the entire Nightmare family, and you're like, cool, you're going to put him up against the Brooklyn Brawler? Like, what's it matter?
Essentially.
That'd be like the Brooklyn Brawler getting a spot challenging Hulk Hogan in the 90s. Like, WrestleMania, I want to wrestle you. And be like, what? You don't exist to me. So
exactly. That's a very good way to put it. And Malachi Black's world, Dante Martin should not exist.
No, I'm not saying Dante Martin doesn't deserve to wrestle. What I'm saying is Dante Martin doesn't deserve to wrestle Malachi Black.
But Malachi Black answers the challenge by turning off the lights, appearing in the ring, spitting some black mist in Dante's face, giving him the old swing kick. Lights go back out. Dante Martin, poof, gone into thin air. And Malachi Black formally accepts the challenge from Dante Martin.
And then they showed Dante Martin laying on the floor and gave away the fact that he disappeared. So that was cool.
Yeah, very good.
I don't think the lights were supposed
I was at least partially intrigued when he just poofed into thin air. It's like, what did Malachi do to him? Did he string him up in the back? Did he vaporize him into a pile of dust? No, he just rolled out of the ring and he's just laying there like a goof.
Yeah, they weren't supposed to show him laying on the floor, or they weren't supposed to turn the lights off the second time. And I'm going to think they weren't supposed to turn the lights off the second time because they were off for an awkward amount of time.
Yeah, it was weird, but they did what they could with it. And man, these segues are working out pretty well. Speaking of somebody who's doing what they can with what the hand that they're given, Ricky Starks is in the ring with that old fantastic FTW belt that nobody gives two poops about.
In the defense of that FTW belt tonight, Wednesday night, they had to bring it out. They had to show it off. They're down the road from Swanson and Rittner, right? The home of ECW, the ECW arena. They mentioned it at some point too, those two crossroads. That's the ECW arena, the old bingo hall. That's the original belt. They put some legacy behind that FTW belt by saying this is the one that Taz held. This is the one from ECW. This is the, blah, blah, blah. So I get it. They had to show it off. They're in Philly. But, again, nobody really cares about it because it's not a real belt. It wasn't a real belt in ECW. I remember when Sabu won it in ECW, he was mad they wouldn't put his nameplate on it, and they were like, it doesn't exist. Taz went and made this and brought it to TV one day. We don't even know what we're doing with it. So he put duct tape on it and wrote Sabu on the belt.
Again, yes, you make a good point. The belt technically means nothing, and what it meant with Taz or someone in Taz's league, so to speak, is the meaning behind it. FTW, fuck the world, a badass who's just going to go through and slaughter everybody, who will let you survive if he lets you, and so to speak. And Taz was built for that belt, or that belt was built for Taz. Ricky Starks,
Yeah.
again, very talented, but a skinny, pretty boy.
Pretty boy.
FTW, fuck the world belt does not belong in the hands of pretty boy Ricky Starks.
This would be the equivalent of throwing the Attitude Era hardcore title on The Rock. Like, it wouldn't have made sense.
Right.
The Rock wearing his fancy-ass $500 shirt, and he's like, I got to carry around this hardcore title? Like, it wouldn't have made sense. So
It doesn't make any sense. Ricky Starks playing up his chicken shit heel gimmick, talking shit about Brian Cage, acting all big and bad. Brian Cage runs down the ramp unexpectedly.
in his panties.
In his too tight panties. He's got to get his shit in, attacks Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks, hooty hoo, he's out the gates.
Yeah, it was a big deal. Brian Cage is back. And I noticed he hadn't been around, but, you know, there's just so much happening. I just don't know where they go.
Exactly. With all the debuts and they're getting a lot of stars over in AEW now. And when someone in Brian Cage's league disappears, nothing against him.
You just don't care.
It's just nobody cares. There's so much more entertaining things and extreme things to focus on to give a shit about where Brian Cage has been.
100%. 100%.
Next on our card here, we had Sheeta taking on Serena Deeb. And
man, I wrote this thing off from the beginning because stupid Aubrey Edwards was holding the trophy that they were going to give Sheeta in the ring. I was like, they already got the trophy made, and then even JR was like, oh, they got pretty high hopes for her. They already made the trophy, made the plaque. And I was like, they're going to AEW all over this match. And they're just going to be like, oh, Sheeta wins 50. And it was like, then you do the math. You're like, they have a show once a week for 2 years. That's 104 shows. She only wrestled on half of them?
yeah, I mean,
plus 8 pay-per-views.
She's undefeated. But yeah, at this point, Brian, they made the big announcement. Sheeta has won 49 matches. This is her opportunity to win 50. They've already got the trophy engraved and ready to hand to her. At this point, I paused it, and my son was walking through the room, and I went on a 15-minute rant about how fucking stupid it was for them to engrave the trophy already, and they don't leave anything to chance.
Oh, I was so mad at it.
So fucking stupid. And my son's like, wouldn't it be funny if she lost and then they smashed the trophy? My son doesn't watch wrestling. He did not watch this before me and figure it out. But I shit you not, Brian. Sheeta lost and Serena Deeb destroyed the trophy.
In my head, I was doing a Brian-style quick booking going, you know, it would be better than giving Sheeta this right now would be to not have her win, not get the trophy, and go on a dramatic losing streak. I'm talking 6 weeks. She can't get a win to get this goddamn thing. She's challenging Serena Deeb 2, 3, 5 times. Other people are stepping up, and she just can't get it to build up to the ultimate comeback to win it at a pay-per-view or something like that. I mean, that's a long-term thing. Probably won't happen, but that was my thought. They kind of did the first step of it, so we got that going. It also solidified Selena, what's it? Deeb?
Serena Deeb.
Serena Deeb, easy for me to say, as a heel in her return. 100%.
Yeah,
they said, who's babyface, who's heel? We'll let you guys fight. Bam! Have a trophy sandwich for dinner. I'm the heel. You're the babyface. Let's roll.
And again, it's out of your ass booking, but it's fantastic. I would be thrilled if they actually. I'm not a fan of Sheeta, but I would actually watch to be entertained and see what she can do if she goes on this losing streak and they bring that goddamn trophy to AEW every week. And hell, let's throw some mustard on this hot dog. Every week, the heel smashes the trophy, and by the time Sheeta gets her hands on it, it's a pile of rubble.
She's just beaten and destroyed. She's like dragging herself. She can't get her mind right. She has to like she could even leave. This would be a great opportunity for her to leave, to get beat like 5 times in a row, and then she just goes off of TV. But they actually make vignettes of her training. She comes back with a new look, a new gimmick, new hairstyle, and she could be the new Sheeta. I mean, there's a lot that they could do with this. Really, as stupid as a gimmick as it is, they could really work it. And then she can come back and, the babyface always wins. They come back, she gets her final win. She gets it over Deeb again, the girl who didn't let it happen. So that's my out-of-the-ass booking. I'm going to make a promo for that. Let's play Brian Books out of his ass.
And I'll give you scenarios to book, and I won't tell you ahead of time, and you got to book them straight out of your sphincter.
Right out the sphincter.
Next, we've seen a lot of Tony Schiavone this show, Brian. We got to mix things up. We got to put in somebody that I hate more than Tony Schiavone, and that would be Alex Marvez.
Marvez is out back. He decides to chat me up here with Darby Allin, and for whatever that's worth.
Marvez, who I hate more than Ronaldo, reiterates the challenge from MJF, and Darby Allin gladly accepts, to which point a limousine pulls up, and Darby, expecting somebody gets out of the limo, gets attacked by behind by 3 masked men.
Not only did a limo show up, but a limo drives by backstage at a professional wrestling event. Now, granted, I'm sure the boys don't ride in limos. I understand this, but there's a perception to it, right? The NWO always rode in a limo. And Darby just takes off his shirt and challenges the guy in the ring. The limo didn't honk at him. The limo did not almost run him over. The limo pulled up gently, gingerly. From his right, a 15-foot stretch limo, the 20-foot stretch limo pulled up. He didn't see it coming. It just surprised him. And then he took off his shirt, threw his skateboard on the ground, and said, "Come on." I mean, like, he just fights any limousine he sees. He hates them all. What the fuck?
For all Darby knows, that could have been Tony Khan,
leaving,
feeling bad for Darby getting beat up all the time. So he sent him a limousine to take him back to the hotel. And Darby just immediately peels that shirt off, and he's ready to fight whoever's in that motherfucker.
Like, let's play. Brian books this out of his ass. The limousine pulls up. The window rolls down. A man in a ski mask looks at Darby Allin. Darby Allin's looking at him like, who is this? He says, "Come on, you want to fight?" Now we're back to the same thing. The 3 guys jump him from behind, and you got the same spot. But you have a reason for Darby to want to fight, not just like, limousine, I got to fight.
Maybe his uncle died in a limousine crash.
His uncle was a chauffeur.
That's right.
So he beats up all chauffeurs now.
I fixed that booking right there, right out of my butt. But the only good thing about this was it's all tongue in cheek. We all know that it's the Pinnacle, or no, not Pinnacle.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah, it's right. It's the Pinnacle. I was just thinking, where was FTR? But they were there.
But they were there. Fuck 'em.
We all know it's the Pinnacle under mask, and it's all tongue in cheek because they're gonna deny that it was them that jumped Darby Allin or whatever. And it was all right. It was kind of like, a little air through the nose. I get it. But 2 good things came out of this, and that was Darby basically almost killing himself twice, just being spearheaded right into a bike rack with a stop sign on it, and then also taking an F10 from a masked Wardlow onto this oddly stacked.
We don't need to get in trouble. That's allegedly.
Allegedly.
We don't need to get sued.
The way these bike racks or security barriers were stacked, it just was so awkward, not flat, so cringeworthy, and Darby just flat backs right onto those motherfuckers. I've probably said it 50 times in the last 72 weeks. This idiot's going to paralyze or kill himself before his 30th birthday.
Yeah, and then I booked this while watching this. They needed to have a Pinnacle Well, we weren't there. We were here. Why didn't they have a video segment of them, like,
taunting Darby for getting beat up or something?
yeah, like they could have pre-taped that, obviously, right? The backstage beat up, and then like within seconds, like had them walking out. Like, well, that's not us. Don't put us in that. They could work with that. It would have been tongue in cheek again, but it would have been fun. But they didn't. They didn't do that. The commentator just said, "That's Wardlow and that's MJF. I can see him. I know it. I see it. I hate him." You're like, "Oh, cool." Leave nothing to the imagination. Why stretch this out for 2 weeks? Like, who are the masked men?
Right. And yeah, so you've got the commentators just laying it all right there in front of you. And then just Wardlow doing his F10, his signature move. They could have had some mystery to it. Besides the obvious clues, MJF's walk and Wardlow's F10, and obviously Shivani spouting out of his ass. I didn't know just from looking at these guys that it was Pinnacle. I don't know if you picked up on that, but they definitely could have played up the mystery thing.
They should have ran with it for at least 1 week. Next week, they could have came out and said, "What are you talking about? We were here. We've got plane tickets. We can show you where we were at. Look, I got receipts from I took the Pinnacle to dinner. We weren't even at Dynamite. We weren't booked. We weren't getting paid. We didn't go." It would have been funny.
We went to the Dinner Debonair, Part 2.
Part 2, they did a song and dance.
Next, we got more Dante Martin, Brian.
Oh.
He wasn't on screen, but he was getting a little pep talk from our buddy, Leo Rush.
Oh, you know what? I missed this. I think I tapped the fast forward button too many times, and I saw it, and then I couldn't go back and find it again. So what'd they say?
You didn't miss anything.
Oh.
Leo Rush doesn't appear to be planning on wrestling. He just wants to help train Dante Martin and take him under his wing, so to speak.
Oh, so he's going to teach you how to retire, come back, and never do anything and make it seem like he's a bigger deal than he is. Got it.
Got it. And he has a big gold Leo on his necklace, so he's balling hard. Apparently, retirement pays well.
Cool.
Unless it's that middle of the mall shit. But
that gas station
then
in the hood
we're
shit.
backstage again. AEW's been doing a lot of talking lately on Dynamite. We've got Britt Baker, which I'm not going to complain about hearing her talk. She's backstage with Rebel and Jamie Hayter, and she is happy. She is happy with the new TBS title being unveiled because finally these bitches can leave her alone and she can watch from the top as they scramble and fight for this secondary title. Well, she doesn't call it secondary title. That's my words.
Yeah. It was it's a good angle for her to take. It worked out perfect. Obviously somebody has to challenge her for the women's championship or it's just boring. Like she wins it and then they all fight for the TBS championship and nobody wants the heavyweight championship or the women's world title again. So, but it does open up some spots to send some of the scrubs.
Right, for sure. And then we move into our main event of the night, Brian, and I didn't have high hopes for this thing. And Orange Cassidy was involved. Orange Cassidy and Pac were the first two in this casino ladder match where a new entrant enters the match every 2 minutes, with the final entrant being the Joker. And Cassidy and Pac start this things off. And for the first 2 minutes of this match, until Andrade Idiota makes his debut into the ring, Pac and Orange just perform comedy skits for about 2 minutes straight.
So in the defense of it, you got Orange Cassidy in there. This was if you're going to put him in, this is a good spot to have him in the opening segment because imagine squeezing the comedy in with 3 guys in the ring. So now you have to have a Lance Archer and Andrade and Pac, who are all eligible in this to win, right? Would make sense any which way to win it. Excuse me. They all have to go lay down and pretend like they're hurt so Orange Cassidy can do his gimmick and his shtick. So at least they put him in there with Pac, one guy, and they can just get it in and get it out of the way. And then he can just get tossed around and get hurt. So if you ask me if they're going to put him in, this is a spot to put him.
And AEW does play to their audience. Their audience is still eating this shit up. I don't know, after 2 years, how this spiel, this gimmick, this same routine every week, how it hasn't got old to these AEW fans is beyond me. I love Richard Pryor. I love old school Eddie Murphy. I love Patrice O'Neal. I love Dave Chappelle. But if I had to watch their same shtick and their same comedy special every single week, I would throw up.
In that defense of comedy, I'll challenge you back with this. I think it's like an Andrew Dice Clay with Orange Cassidy. The crowd feels involved. They get to do the whoa, hands in the pockets, and then he does the little kicks. Oh, and the super kick. And Andrew Dice Clay, right, would do his hickory dickory dock, hey, and they would yell the punchline, and they knew it. They wanted him to get to his nursery rhymes, so I think it's an involvement thing at the end of the day. It's like, hey, I'm a part of the show. Whether right or wrong, I think that's where the crowd's at.
Yeah, and you're spot on with that. But, geez.
It still sucks.
Yeah. Just the fact that they're still into it and the fact that this thing's still going strong, it just blows my mind. But either way, Andrade enters the match. Orange Cassidy disappears so that we can get some Andrade and Pac action going on. They actually put on some pretty decent wrestling there. Andrade doing a sunset flip over the top of the ladder on Pac, and that was pretty.
As Tony
They pulled
Schiavone
that
called
off
it,
well.
Tony Schiavone called it the sundown flip, right? Because he went down. It was he was trying to be clever. There was a few spots. That was one of them. The main idea of this match is to climb a ladder, grab a token, grab the casino chip, and move on. What was that? And is to grab that chip and go on and win this match so you can get a title shot. But they avoid it. They're like, hey, look, I can grab it now. But instead I'll power bomb you onto the ground, and then we'll take the ladder down. There was a lot of that in this match, and it was driving me bonkers.
Yeah, wrestling nowadays, especially AEW, has kind of forgotten that the goal in a match is to win.
God forbid.
Not just to get your shit in. If they just made that one little tweak, if they kind of wrote the skits and wrote the spots around, well, you're trying to win as fast as possible, I think that would clear some of the muddiness of how bad some of this shit comes off.
Well, like we've said before, there's 5 guys, and you can instantly eliminate 2 to 3 of them right away. Orange Cassidy, not winning. Done. The Joker, whoever the Joker is like a 9 out of 10 good chance of winning. It doesn't matter who you are.
Right.
You're the Joker. You put in there your Lance Archers and your other guys, and you're like, well, possibly, and then you can eliminate a couple others. It's just... So Matt Hardy, right? He's out. He's not going to win.
Right.
So he's just out there to get his shit in. Never even made an attempt to climb the ladder. He's like, I'll just dive on you and do a leg drop off of a ladder and hurt my tailbone and not hurt you at all. Like, you dumb shithead. Like you said, base the spots around trying to win and climb up and grab that casino token chip. The other thing that bugged me about this is the term casino battle royal or casino ladder match. Casino. We did gimmick matches, gimmick pay-per-views earlier in the Let's Play Overrated or Underrated with Eric Todd. There's a gimmick to Cyber Tuesday. People voted, and that's how the match happened. Royal Rumble, you pick a random number, and that's when you come to the thing. King of the Ring, there was qualifying matches, pre-qualifying matches, quarterfinals, semifinals. Casino Battle Royal, the term casino means nothing in this. They don't play a game of high card, low card to see who goes out next.
Right.
They don't stand in the
If you
back.
want to break it down, the casino gimmick is, which the only thing consistent between Casino Battle Royale and Casino Ladder Match is you start out with two guys and someone comes out a couple minutes later. What that has to do with a casino, take it away, Brian. Convince me. Change my mind.
I can't, but there needs to be something with like a roulette table or a cards or a dice or
Right.
something, and they can gimmick this, and it doesn't have to be live. You've got a goddamn TV studio at your beck and call, basically. Rig it up. Have them, oh, no. Lance Archer roll the 7. He's next. Like, or something, anything. I don't, just something that deals with a casino and a game of chance, but they don't, and that bothers me. They could just call it a ladder match.
Right. I don't even know what to call it. I guess casino is the only thing they could come up with to call it when a guy comes in every 2 minutes.
Just a 2, 3, 4, or an ace 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then the Joker. Was there 5 guys, and then the Joker was 6, or whatever it is?
Whatever.
The Joker comes in last. He's done. And just have the 5 guys in front of you draw cards. I got the ace. I go out first. I got the 3. I go out third. You got the 4. You go out fourth, Eric. Like, this is something. Chance. But you can rig it and gimmick it, right? And put it in the order you want it to be. But give me a story.
Put something to do with a casino whatsoever.
I know this
besides
is so
the stupid poker chip.
I know we've talked a long time on the name of a casino ladder match and how much it bothered me and the 10 things they could do to fix it, but why give it a name if it has nothing to do with it?
Right. It was a ladder match. And Moxley's in this thing. Moxley is definitely a top contender for winning this number 1 contender spot or title shot, however you want to word it. And Mox no matter what the gimmick of the match is, you could do a lingerie pillow fight with John Moxley involved, and he's going to turn it into a let's get out of the ring as soon as possible and just brawl, because I don't feel like wrestling tonight. And that's just what bothers me about Mox is it's in the same vein of Orange Cassidy sticking his stupid hands in his pockets. Every time Moxley is involved in any match, it's the same spiel. Let's go outside and just beat each other senseless.
You knew the shtick you were getting. It's like that old 80s stuff, man, that we grew very weary of in the 90s, even with Hogan. Like, bop, he gets beat up. He comes back. He hulks up, waves the finger, couple boots, leg drop. There's the match. Like, at 10, I could call this thing. The Ultimate Warrior style matches, they started to get away from that, and we were enjoying that. And then now they're giving us the same thing every time you see Orange Cassidy. You know what you get. Every time you see John Moxley, you know what you get. Every time you see the Young Bucks, and I'm a Bucks guy, you know what you're gonna get. It's, I get that guys are gonna have their style. You knew what you were getting when you saw Stone Cold Steve Austin to an extent. You were waiting for the kick to the gut and the stunner. If you saw that, you knew it was a wrap. But it was a wait for it type thing. Not instantly, like just stunner, give you the finger, stunner, drink a beer. Like, that's not his entire match.
Right. With a Stone Cold Steve Austin, every match was completely different. You just had his signature plopped in every now and again. Moxley, it's the same script every single time. You don't even have to watch a Mox match nowadays. You can just copy and paste the same review. But again, speaking of Stone Cold, he is dancing dangerously close to gimmick infringement. He seems to take it on more and more. Now he's flipping people off and doing the Moxley Austin strut everywhere he goes. And I say next week he just shaves his head and wears a leather vest.
We can only hope. Drinks a beer.
Orange Cassidy keeps inserting himself every now and again, like, hey guys, don't forget about me. He'll disappear for 2 or 3 minutes, then he'll pop in, usually around the time another guy gets in the ring, and he'll do a Orange Cassidy gimmick comedy spot, and then he disappears again. Whatever, Orange, keep your concentrate fresh, I guess.
Orange chicken.
And then we have got our Joker, Brian. The big reveal. The big return. Adam Page is back. Adam Page is the Joker in the casino ladder match.
Yeah, and then after seeing that and the crowd's pop and everything else, you went, well, there's your winner.
If he doesn't win, we riot. We are in Philadelphia after all.
Yes. And he deserves the win. It's a good way for him to come back. He took the time off. Him and his wife had a baby. Yada, yada, yada. He got to go away and come back, learn a new, as they say, go away, learn a new hold, come back fresh. And, I think this could be a good thing for him. JR gave him the same quote that he gave Jeff Hardy on Monday Night Raw when he was fighting. Jeff Hardy was fighting The Undertaker and said, "Make yourself famous, kid." When Jeff Hardy almost beat The Undertaker in that match, and he said that as Hangman was climbing the ladder to grab the token, to grab the chip, and he's like, "Make yourself famous, kid." And there you go. He climbs up and grabs the ladder. There's some few spots in between. Was there anything you wanted to discuss about the match in between there? I mean, it just kind of comes to a, I beat you up, you beat me up, you hit this spot, I hold the ladder, you stand over there. There was a real shitty spot with Lance Archer where his head was in the ladder. And then Orange Cassidy tries to climb up Lance Archer, then climb up the ladder. And then Moxley hits him. And then Lance Archer just goes in the corner and holds the ladder until Moxley goes and kicks him with it. It's like, why would you hold the ladder in the corner? Like, go hit your mark and let me do my spot here in a minute. No on-the-fly calling stuff. Like, no, it didn't naturally, he wasn't, picking the ladder up and then caught a drop kick. It was like, booking out of my ass. When I kick Orange Cassidy, you drop the ladder, you roll into the corner. When you pick the ladder up, I'm going to kick you in the face. That's my cue. But instead, he just went in the corner and held a ladder.
No, there's no improv to anything in AEW. It just seems like, we have to follow spot by spot by spot, even if we're not in the right spot or
the timing's off.
The timing's off, or Arn Anderson falls off the ring. We got to follow the fucking script word for word. And it's annoying. I mean, you saw a couple cool things in here. Andrade gets pushed off the top turnbuckle, ends up going through a ladder. That looked pretty pretty painful there. Page dead eyes Pac through a table, and then Mox gets involved again, and he's cleaning house, hits a paradigm shift on Adam Page. That's when we saw our stupid Matt Hardy leg drop, which is the whole reason he was involved in this thing. And then it's all Adam Page from there. Archer catching a buckshot, Mox and Page battling at the top of the ladder, and then it just seemingly Mox just bails off the ladder, and Adam Page spends about 45 seconds fiddle-faddling with the casino chip, staring at the crowd and just soaking up the moment, I imagine.
Yeah, well, he spent about what felt like 45 seconds trying to get it off the hook. And I was like, oh, come on, get it off the hook. Finally got it off the hook. He sat there, he enjoyed his moment and basked in his glory. And, I think this is where we see, hopefully, how many times are we going to get a Casino Royale battle match, whatever, ladder match, battle royal winner, grab the brass ring. So we had Scorpio Sky with the brass ring. Now we got this with the token. If nobody wins with it, why would you keep signing up for these matches? Be like, hey, I'm going beating my body up for this shit. I'm like, cool, I won. That and 50 cents will get me a cup of coffee. Now look at Scorpio Sky. He's hanging out with Dan Lambert. Cool.
Yeah, imagine every Money in the Bank winner losing their title match.
Yeah, cool. I beat my body.
Who would want to be a Money in the Bank winner anymore?
For one, I'm going to win. For two, I got to kill myself, and I'm going to win the match, but I got to kill myself to get it, and I don't even get a shot really at the title.
But speaking of being off the hook, we are off the hook, Brian. We are done with this week's episode of the KayFabe Smark podcast. Be sure to hit us on all of our social media platforms. We're hot on TikTok. We'd be getting all them views over there. Subscribe on YouTube. Even when we have technical glitches, we always fix them up. We might be a few minutes late, but we're pretty consistent.
We're coming.
Either Thursday or Sunday, depending on what's going on. And we're all over the place. We're even Facebook Live-ing nowadays.
Facebook Live-ing. I think next time I want to try and do a TikTok thing. We can't stream to TikTok yet through our software, but, Eric and I can just set our phones up on some stands, and we'll do a little TikTok live streaming for part of it or all of it. We'll see how it goes. So, nonetheless, we're trying, we're hanging out, we're having fun, we're getting creative, and we're talking pro wrestling. The KayFabe Smark on all social media platforms, as Eric said. And make sure you hit the notification bell. You get it when we go live, when we make posts. And, Eric, what do you got for us?
That's a wrap on my end, Brian. We hit all the socials, and all there's left to do is one last thing, and that is Hootie hoo. We out the gates.